Hey everybody, it's BTC Gambler here. I hope you're well. Listen, going to be quite a short video, this one. I've got lots of people asking me what am I doing on Alphaverse. So this video is going to be explaining what I'm working on. Bear with me a second. I've started this video at a critical point because I've just hit a double crash and I've hit a -19 here. And I'll explain what I'm playing in a minute. I'm playing a strategy that has an 877 TRX recovery pot and it has a secondary recovery pot. I've been collecting it. So we hit a -19. We just need one hit. And that's fine. And I'll reset this. And I can kick these back off. And then I'll explain what I'm working on. Right, that's back them running again. So I've got 166 bots there running. And what I'm running in is a new strategy that is, if you've got Alphaverse already, then you could just run a git pull, but make sure you've got a backup copy of your client config file before you attempt this. So this is a new version of the code, and it's, if anybody knows anything about BTC Gambler, you will know about Infinity Code. What I've been working on is a new Infinity Code, and it's called One Hit Wonder Edition. And the idea and thinking behind this is it possible to play the casino in such a way that you don't win, you don't lose, but you just wager? Okay, and could you make profits from VIP perks alone? So I'm going to demonstrate. Yeah, I believe it's actually possible. So I've been running this for quite some time now, and I've recovered from quite a dire situation in the past. I mean, I went down to a couple of thousand TRX, but I've fully recovered it. What I'm also working on in the background is a new video for, if anybody doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about here and wonder what the hell this is all about, this is Project Alphaverse. I will put a link in the description of this video that explains what Alphaverse is. And I'm going to assume you know what Alphaverse is. If you don't know what Alphaverse is, please go and look in the description. There will be a link that says what is Project Alphaverse. And I'm working on a brand new video. It's taken some time, but a complete new end-to-end build guide to make it as easy as I possibly can for anybody else that wants to run Alphaverse. I'm acutely aware that it is quite technical and it does put a lot of people off. So what my job now is to try and make that as easy as I possibly can. So I'm working on a video and I'm going to cover full end-to-end from server build to client builds, template creations, creating the accounts on the casino, wagering the minimum requirement at 0 to no cost, and just talking you through the whole process, and then adding those clients into the account. And when I'm working on a separate video, and hopefully by the end of it you'll have a document that you can just copy and paste commands from. Okay, and the video will be your guide. Anyway, so what this is, this Infinity Code One Hit Wonder Edition is a brand new idea. You know, this is, it may well be tested by other people, but I'm not aware of it. This is where the beauty of Alphaverse, because it can play any of the originals games, and I don't have to stick to just one game type. And so this is now what we call a multi-game strategy. It's a multi-stage, and remember, it's not a profit strategy. It's a wagering strategy. And the idea being is you wager as much as you can with the lowest amount of risk, and then you get the VIP perks. And I'm going to show you me collecting the weekly and how much you can expect. So the way the code works is split into multiple stages. We've got stage 1, 2 and 3. Stage 1 is where we're playing dice. We play dice with a 99% win chance. And we set the base bet. And the base bet is the start balance divided by 5,200. And the start balance will always be, in this instance, because we're playing in TRX, will always be 20, because within the code here, sorry to adjust that, so in the code here, it would dump whatever's in your balance and leave behind 20 TRX. So providing you had more than 20 TRX, which is like $2, guys, it will put the remaining into the vault. And then it just wagers, and it wagers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You know, it's really, when this is done properly, it's quite boring. So that's stage 1. We're just simply running dice at 99% win chance, which pays out 1x on a win. So you can have very long streaks. Stage 2 So stage 2 here we'll come back to, because stage 3 is like an intermediary stage that switches. When we switch between stages, we use stage 3, and what it does a 0 bet at 99% win chance on dice, and simply does 1 bet until it gets a win, but it does a 0 bet. And that's really important because we use the variable called previous bet here. It's like a cleansing mechanism to make sure that previous bet was 0 when it goes into the next stage. If you don't understand that issue, then you probably have never hit this issue, but just take my word for it. This intermediary stage was required because it can carry over sometimes quite a large previous bet into the next stage. And when you're using the variable previous bet, yeah, that can really throw the numbers out. This is why I had to create this cleansing stage called stage 3. Now stage 2, my apologies guys, so I had the wrong file open there. It's actually called Infinity Code Dual Game version 0.1. So I'll just open it up here, and I know that is correct here. Stage 2 is where it switches games. We no longer play dice, we played the game Dragon Tower, but we are playing with an aggressive form of delayed martingale. So we look down to the do bet function. So here's the do bet function here. So you could say if it's what we're doing, we're betting 0, so the next bet equals 0. It is playing the game Dragon Tower. Because when we called set stage 2, it set the game type to Dragon Tower. So there's a variable there that determines the game type. See, stage 1 is dice, stage 2 is Dragon Tower, stage 3 is dice as well. So in stage 2, we're betting 0, and then we keep betting 0 until we hit a loss streak of exactly -5. So 5 losses in a row, and then it goes aggressively. The next bet is 11 times the base bet, and that is a calculated field. So you only need 1 win to meet the condition required to switch back to stage 1. And so the system then goes back and it switches. If the profit from this is greater than the base bet, then it switches back to stage 1 and it goes back into 99% win chance, and the whole thing keeps repeating over and over again. In fact, I will show you one running in a moment, and you can see it switch between stages. And the idea being is that you don't win, you don't lose, you just wager. So just open up a putty session. You can see here it's doing 1 bet, stage 3, so it got 1 win, which was 97% win chance. It's gone to stage 2, which is now playing the game Dragon Tower, and it's betting 0. And all we need is 1 hit. So we're looking for 5 losses in a row, and then it would go in quite aggressively. You usually don't have to wait too long. Here we go. 1 win, and it switched to stage 1, and now it's playing the game dice at 99% win chance, and it's got sufficient enough balance to stay actually in stage 1 for quite a long period of time. It's only a small fraction of the time that it actually goes to stage 2. The only place where you can bust out is stage 2. And the way I'm playing it, as I said in the code, it would take whatever's in your balance, it leaves 20 TRX in the start balance, and it just, but you only need a tiny amount. You don't need an awful lot in here, and it puts the rest into the vault. And where we are with regards to, so obviously we expect at some point that to bust. It does bust, and hopefully you'll see one. And there's obviously an automatic recovery, and I've defined that the recovery pot should be 877 TRX, and they're green in here, so you'll see them. Yeah, there's one there. That's okay. As long as it's above 877, it will always tip across 877, because that's defined in the server config on the server, and it knows whoever's got that amount or greater in the recovery pot can tip that funds across, and it will automatically recover it. And then I have a secondary recovery pot of a minimum of 7,000. I've built this up to 13,000 there, but it'd be more than that, because you'll see in a moment when I've done the weekly collection, just say how much does this actually pay out. It's not earth-shattering, exciting money, but it's slow, steady, consistent, and I'll quickly show you this in Excel. So as I said at the beginning, we're going to have a start balance of 20 TRX. And by the way, guys, if you don't have this spreadsheet, you need it, just message me and I will send you a copy. But I've shared this on multiple videos before, but if you stuck with it, you need it, just let me know and I'll send you a copy. So start balance is 20 TRX. The base bet multiplier is 5,200, as we saw in the code, which means that the base bet is going to be 0.038 on a 20 start balance. When we're using Martingale on Dragontail, and we're playing Dragontail on hard mode on one row, you have to have 104.2% for full recovery in Martingale. And the win chance is exactly 50-50. And if we look at the validity checker, you can see here I've manually entered in 0 for the first 5 bets. And then we said, as in the code here, that the first bet will be 11 times the base bet. And with a recovery pot of 877 and a secondary recovery pot minimum of 7,000, you covered up to 22 losses. And we can see the point where it crashes here. So if we go back to Alphaverse, you can see the maximum loss streak, doesn't get anywhere near that. Like I said, it spends pretty much the majority of its time in stage 1. And it's only a very short period of time that is actually in stage 2. So if we go back to that bot, that is still in stage 1 and that hasn't moved there, and it'll be there for quite some time. Now if you've got Alphaverse already, you can just run a git pull and you can just download this. It's already set up to run this code. So I've already pre-configured, for safety reasons. I've set up already what the bust threshold should be, what the recovery threshold should be, and in the package.json file, I've already set to point to this game here. So if you just run a git pull, providing you've got all your client configuration in here, like username, API key, two-factor sequence, and such forth, you'll be able to play this and pretty much out of the box. This is all set up, ready to go. If you're building it from scratch, then this is what you're going to get. If you build in a brand new version of Alphaverse, you're going to get this as the code that I recommend you run. Like I say, if you want to build Alphaverse, there are videos and build guides out there already. However, I just feel that they need to be improved upon, and I need to make it a lot more simpler. Trying to put everything, Alphaverse is a project of many moving parts, and some of it will be relevant to some people and some not to others, depending where you're going to run it. And there's lots of mechanics to consider within all of this, and I want to try and encapsulate the whole thing in one video. It might be quite a long video, but it'd be like a one-stop shop. Everything that you need to build your own Alphaverse from scratch. Okay, right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you a recording I did earlier with me collecting a weekly, so you can see roughly the sorts of money that you can make with this, and I will be back after that. Okay guys, so it's time to collect the weekly. So I'm going to show you what we look like here. So the way I collect weekly is I pause everything, and what I'm going to do is reset the profit to 0, and also stake is running really slow, dog slow, probably about half the speed it should be running at. I don't know what's going on at stake, but there seems to be a sustained attack going on. It's really affected the performance of Alphaverse. Anyway, so we're going to see how much weekly is going to make. And the way I do it is I've got a virtual machine that I built here using VirtualBox that is installed locally on my machine. And yeah, I've connected it on a VPN. So you see here. And then, providing you've got one Chrome window open, I've written some some scripts here. Some shell scripts. And if you just look at them, I found out you can open up profiles individually. So I've got a profile defined for every single account that's got a VIP level. So all I need to do is just double click this and 20 should open up, hopefully. And I should be able to just collect the weekly on each one. I'll do this and bring you back. Okay, so that's them all collected. That took about an hour. That used to take me over a week to do that, and it was this is probably the most efficient way I can find I could do it. So we see what impact that has had. It's not amazing, but it ain't bad when you think about it. I mean, it's made 2,908 TRX, or $322. But bear in mind, we had that has only been running for 3 days and 5 hours. Because we had a severe outage. I discovered that trying to play in stake.com was pretty much unplayable. So I had to change to a mirror site, staketr.com. Let me show you. Yeah, and each of the clients. I had to change the mirror site from stake.com to staketr.com because it was requesting a new sessions cookie sort of every 10 minutes, and it was become completely unusable. It completely broke Alphaverse, so it took me a number of days to work out how to fix that. So we're not quite there, and also where I really want to get to is the start balance on each one to be 60, but I need to do the maths behind all of that. But that wasn't bad, so $322. That's free money, guys. Just simply VIP perks. So what I need to do now is I need to reset all of these and kick it back off again. But at some point I do need to update the code. Let me reset these and bring you back. But before we kick this off, so we know that's all correct now, so it's all reset. The wages should be 0. Well, I hope that was helpful. So you could see the beginnings and the makings of what we want to get to here. So yeah, it wasn't exciting money, but $300 a week very, very low risk. I reckon I could triple that if I increase the start balance to 60. But I want to do this, I want it to be self-funded. And I don't think I'm that far away from it, actually. So anyway, I'll end the video there, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay, back to current time, guys. So yeah, this really is the end of the video now, even though I said that twice now. I hope you find that useful. So this is going to progress out over the coming days, you know, even coming weeks and months. So my plan is to increase the start balance on each of these. I think when we get to around about 60 start balance on each of these accounts, we're going to be looking at wagering around about $1,000 a week, which would be ideal. That would be the ideal sweet spot for me. Wagering $1,000 per account means that each account will get a ticket on the 5,000 weekly draw. So I'd have, in my instance, I'll have 166 tickets, and I think it should pay out even more then. But we're clearly above the threshold, because if you don't bet above the threshold, and that threshold is, I don't know where the figure is, to be honest with you. It can pay out on the weekly something like a fraction of 1 TRX, and we didn't have that on any of the accounts, even though it only ran for 3 days. The numbers were misleading. I think we need to see a gain come this week coming up, and I'll keep you posted. But monthly is going to be the big one. Then you got pre-monthly, then you got a 3-day reload. It's all good stuff, and obviously very important. If you are going to run this, there's no point running this strategy on an account that doesn't have a VIP level. You won't get weekly, so you need to get the bronze level as minimum. So these is, and I probably may do a separate video about that one completely, but that may well be covered in the video that I'm working on, how you can wager $500 for free. So if you can wager $500 for free, there's nothing to say you can wager $10,000 for free to get you to bronze. Okay, yeah, I've got lots of video ideas, okay? And but only if you're interested, guys. I mean, only if you're interested. It's like I said before in my previous video, it's very disheartening, very, very disheartening to spend hours and hours on working on videos and only to get like 100 views on your videos. That's like it's very demotivating, I have to say. Man, where's the time I was getting many thousands of views on my videos? I know it's my fault, but it's still disheartening. Anyway, feedback is really important to me, guys. You know, if you want me to keep producing these videos, then please, feedback is so important to me. And I'll remind everybody that Alphaverse is free, by the way. I'm not asking anybody for any money. You know, it's a piece of software that is completely free. Anyway, I'll stop waffling on, and I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.